Oh, City. Why do you do this to us? I feel like I'm in an emotionally abusive relationship with Man City this season, truly being gaslighted. From the positivity of the Spurs win, even though the second half was poor there, down to this performance today. A really weird game of football, actually. Felt some people very clearly did their jobs and others just simply didn't. That's where my head lands after this. And you could argue that even one of those that didn't might have even been Pep Guardiola himself. The top line analysis for me is that I felt defensively we were really good other than the goal, but let down by a poor midfield in front of them and a lack of creativity in front of goal. Ultimately, we defended pretty well for most of the game until that goal, annoyingly. And then we just had nothing going the other way. City simply just weren't good enough, man. We genuinely weren't good enough going forward. And unfortunately, that is the main issue that we've had this season. A total lack of quality, a total lack of ability. And I think this is City's biggest issue these days, is that we are lacking some superstars. We're just lacking a little bit of magic, a little bit of spark. And it was uninspiring and a bit dull. The goal itself was ridiculously annoying. Pep apparently dropped to his knees the second that diagonal pass was sprayed out to Hudson-Odoi, maybe because he knew what was about to come. Look, Guardiola should not back off that much. He should not let him run just into the area and just get a shot away, totally unopposed, essentially. But Ederson's got to do better than that as well. I don't even give a shit, man, if there was a small deflection there. Elite keepers, the deflection would have been so minor that he hadn't had a time to react to the deflection because Guardiola stood like that close to him anyway, if that makes sense. So I'm not buying the deflection thing. You have to be better than that, man. You have to be better than that in terms of a goalkeeper. Why make that genuinely world-class save then just to be beaten at the near post? Abject. Just not good enough, and essentially it's cost us. I still think there's more to that game than then. They did park the bus, but it's not always necessarily the case that, City have been affected by that. City usually can break down parked buses by lack of by creativity and so on. And if I go through that team today, and I'll bring it up on screen for you now, too many players failed at their jobs today. I'm going to ignore the stats because the stats don't tell the picture. I'll go through everyone individually. Ederson, one world-class save, one piece of diabolical nonsense, unfortunately, which cost the game. Vardiol, he was there. This is why I ignore these stats, by the way, because they're not really that relevant to what I actually see with my own eyes today. I thought actually, throughout the game, defensively, Vardiol was okay until that moment. But then just poor one-on-one with Hudson-Odoi. I thought Diaz and Kusanov had a really good game, actually. I thought Kusanov in particular was excellent once again. Just everywhere, that kid. An absolute world-class talent, it seems. Just so good. And I thought Nunes was all right in that first half as well. Apart from that one, a couple of stray passes, I thought Nunes did a capable job. I mean, overall, before Nico Gonzalez went off, I thought we defended pretty well. So that was the thing for me. Is like it was, it was. The moment it changed defensively for me was when Nico Gonzalez and Nunes went off. Now Nunes might have been because of his injury, because apparently he was going to go off at half time, but I mean, Rico Lewis came on there. Okay, maybe he didn't have much of a choice there. But the Kovacic thing, man, like, come on, mate, come on, like, the most frustrating thing is that we watched all season Rico Lewis and Kovacic, when they play centrally, just chasing back runners. And within 1 minute, literally 1 minute of Nico Gonzalez going off, the same thing happened again. They were chasing back runners. And I know directly the goal came from that moment, but we just see it every single time. We lack control. Teams are empowered and the runners getting behind us every single time those two are on the pitch together. It just doesn't work. And we saw that again. Nico went off apparently because he was on a yellow card, and I think he was a little bit lucky not to get a second yellow, actually. One bit when he sort of shoved someone off the ball on a counter-attack, so maybe Pep was reacting to that, because I thought he probably could have had a second yellow as well at one point, Nico. So maybe that was the reason why, but ultimately, I would have argued it's a risk worth taking, because I think the alternative is this. We see us lose control, we see us look so abject defensively. I'm not even saying Nico Gonzalez was phenomenal or anything like that, but he was definitely better than what came on after him. He was definitely part of a more composed side, and that's what frustrated me. For the 60-odd minutes, the defence did their bit quite well until it changed. But ahead of him, we got nothing. I'm going to go through these players individually. There's Ivan Doku there. Look, I rate Doku, but I feel like, does anyone else feel this way? Like, you know what Doku's going to give you within 30 minutes of a game. If Doku's not beat his man after 30 minutes, It's not happening all game. There's no point. Doku is either he's on it or he's just not on it at all. He doesn't even really seem to find much joy if it's not working for him, Doku. And it was very obvious to me early on that Doku, it just wasn't going to work for him. Savino's a bit different that way because Savino is a little bit more varied, I would argue, in terms of his game. But Savino had a poor game too, couldn't get going either. But I would have understood the logic of keeping him on a little bit longer, but it didn't happen. And I'm sorry, man, like, I love you, Bernardo, but he's just so poor, man. He offers absolutely nothing. Other than, like, you know, just a bit of running here and there, he offers so little to Manchester City these days, Bernardo Silva. The amount of times he got the ball on the right wing spot and just stood there. At one point, when we were 1-0 down and he got the ball on the right-hand side, I felt like he was time-wasting. He just stood there staring at the fullback, and Nico Williams was like, all right, mate, you do that. You stand there if you want to. I will stand and watch you, until he passed it back to Kusanov or someone. I don't know who it was. But I was like, what? Like, what is the point in that? What is the point in that? Look, Bernardo at one point was a phenomenal player. I don't know if it's there or not, but right now it absolutely is not there. So move on from it. Super chat from Sean. Thank you so much, mate. Absolutely appreciate it. Sean said, "Thank God for the UEFA coefficient and the 5th Champions League spot. Those are rough points to drop today." You're not wrong, mate. Look at the table right now. City currently 4th. Chelsea could jump us if they win this weekend. I don't know who they've got, but yeah, we could be down to 5th by the end of this weekend. Even a Chelsea draw would take us ahead of us on goal difference as well. So Chelsea have to avoid defeat to go ahead of us. But thanks, Sean. You're not wrong, mate. Thanks. That might save us this season, but you never know, man. Because Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brighton, Fulham. Even there, yeah, they're all within 5 points. Villa, they're all within 5 points of Man City as it currently stands. They've all got a game in hand as well, apart from Villa. So no guarantee we're going to get top 5 as it currently stands. So let's just see how we do it. Yeah, but back to the players individually. Foden, like, what has happened to our star boy, man? Like, Phil Foden, like, this season, where's your heart, mate? I'm so worried about his form. Where's your dynamism gone? It feels to me like Phil Foden's just turned into a turn and shoot player where he gets the ball and just turns and shoots, but nothing happens. Do you remember the Phil Foden? And this comes from a place of love, Phil. If you're somehow watching this, mate, and I know you occasionally watch videos, like, you are a hero for City fans. You truly are. But this season has been so poor by your standards. And, like, I don't expect you to be perfect. I don't expect you to carry City on your back. But where's the spark gone? Like, the amount of times you would turn Phil Foden and dribble and do little 1-2s and all that kind of stuff, and he's just not there anymore. Like, he's just literally not there. And you don't win challenges either. Like, it feels like, you know, you're backing out of tackles and not beating your man anymore. And I think you know that you could do more than that, and I love you, but I feel like yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the joy of the football has gone out of his game, and, like, it's a completely different player to the 1, 2 or 3 years back. And I don't think Phil is this guy. It could be that he's had a bad year. Everyone has a bad year. It could be it could be about to change, but ultimately, you know, he's had a week off, he's had a rest, and we need better. We need better than that, basically. We need better than that from Phil. Savino didn't work for him today. Doku, just didn't work. As I said, Doku, if he's not beating him in the first 30 minutes, he's never going to. So basically, I look through that midfield. Savino, Bernardo, Foden, Doku, they did nothing creatively, and they gave Haaland, scraps to feed off. That, to me, is our biggest issue right now. Feel a bit rough today, by the way. That's why I didn't do a watch along. I'm feeling a bit off today. Probably a blessing in disguise in the end. Super chat from Huang Trong says, "Hi Stephen, I can't lie, but Hugo, it has to be brave and let Pep know some of these players won't be here next season." Absolutely, mate. And I think that's the crux of it, because there is a lack of quality. I do think we are 2 or 3 world class starters away. Anyway, I want a top class right back. I want a top class 10. I could even go for another winger. Maybe if Oscar Bob comes back, we don't need that. I don't know, but right now, I can't wait till Rodgers back in the side. I want to see a bit of Oscar Bob if he gets his form back. No more Moose today as well. He got on, but got basically no service whatsoever. When KDB got on, he did nothing as well. It felt like the game did shift on the substitutions. We just lost all form of control, and it got a little bit more average and a bit more predictable. And look, basically, Forest were just a better drilled side than us. As I said, I do think there were some positives in terms of defensive capabilities. Was so much better. When I go back to about 2 months ago, teams were running us ragged, really. Other than I guess Forest themselves. But I do want to see a bit more, for Man City in terms of going forward. As Stephen McDonald said, Foden's got nothing around him, no creativity. Bernardo does nothing. The two wide players frighten nobody. Should be two players side by side. No, I agree with that, mate. But Foden was like a guy who could just spark the attacks into life on the half turn and dart forward. Like, when's the last time you saw Foden sprint at someone? And I really, truly mean that. I don't mean run. I mean sprint at someone. Picture Phil Foden years ago. Like, picturing getting the ball on the left and beating his fullback in and getting in and scoring that goal against Brighton or the turns against PSG or whatever. And I don't put it down to just, like, parked buses, because Phil has got so much better than that. And this, once again, comes from a position of love. Phil has to do better. He has to do better. And I know it's hard right now, but he's lost a lot of conviction to his game. And it's very, 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 very tough to watch right now. Disappointing. Look, ultimately, in the season we're having right now, there's nothing surprising about us losing to Forest, because Forest away was always going to be an incredibly tough game for us. And I feel like we're at, we're hopefully at the end of that incredibly tough run. Well, we've got 1 or 2 games left, but we still have to expect better. We have to expect better. We've lost 15 of our last 30. We've lost half of our last 30 games. That's mental, man. Last 15 of our last 30. Before that, it took us 169 games to lose 15. That is absolutely mental. So previously, 169 games to lose 15. Now we've lost 15 of 30. It's been an absurd drop-off, and we need to move on from it, really. This season, absolutely. The big positive is Kusanov. Kusanov, once again, electric. That guy is probably our best player right now, which is mental to say from a 21-year-old Uzbekistan international who's barely played much. But he's come in and been absolutely brilliant, Kusanov. The way he sweeps things up, the composure on the ball, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Defensively everywhere, covers so much ground. I've got so much time for Kusanov. A cracking signing. We need some more players like that. Absolutely. Yeah, we really, truly do. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this, as painful as it is. This is the kind of game I still expected us to potentially lose this season, because I feel like, and actually the video the other day talking about the age profile being good, and that there's a lot of positive reasons to believe in the squad right now. And I still actually stand by that. 1 defeat away at Forest isn't going to change that. Because ultimately, I think a lot of these young players have a lot of talent, but I still think we're missing 1 or 2 pieces to the puzzle, maybe 3 or 4 pieces to the puzzle. We need a little bit more quality. And I think ultimately, I keep saying ultimately, hopefully Oscar Bob coming back will change that a little bit. Hopefully Rodri will change that a bit. Hopefully, Echeverri could add something there. Then you bring in the new signings. If you can get a Florian Wirtz type, that'd be amazing. Something like that. If you can get, a Cambiasso, you can get another midfielder, potentially a Balabra or someone like that. I don't know. But right now, my expectations still are as a top 4, top 5 side. That's what they are. And you don't agree? Don't you agree that we don't need a few quality players? Like, I don't see the issue if we get 3 or 4. We've got a lot of but the raw young players, yes. But I'm on about the future. I'm not on about right here and now. I'm not even necessarily on about the next 7-8 months. I'm on about 2 or 3 years from now. It may be a bit painful, but I definitely believe that we've got some really talented young players that will be at Manchester City for years to come and be excellent. I believe in the quality of Oscar Guardiola. I believe in Vitor Reis. I believe in Kusanov. I believe in Nico. I do believe in the wingers, Savino, Doku. I do believe in Marmouche. I do believe in Oscar Bob, and I think Echeverri too. And I know we need more. I'm not saying we don't believe in Haaland, and what point I'm making is that I think there's talent there, but it needs to be complicated by more talent, complemented by more talent. We need Rodri back. Ultimately, I feel like we're feeling the drop-off of Foden disappearing and De Bruyne not being as good anymore, and no Rodri. 3 world-class players are just no longer there anymore. De Bruyne was world-class when he came back. Rodri was world-class at Ballon d'Or, and Foden was world-class last season. And those have just disappeared, and everyone's got older. So we're just so down in quality. And Bernardo's gone from being, a good squad player last season to nothing this year and being absolutely terrible. Gundogan's disappeared, We're really down in quality. And Bernardo, I'm really disappointed in, man. I don't know what it is. if he's tired or anymore, if he's lost his joy, his hunger, whatever. But Bernardo's just turned into a running machine. Where are those silky dribbles gone? Where are those lovely little, moments that make you purr? Where's him cutting in from the right wing, putting in the top corner of 20 yards? Like, you remember Bernardo Silva, try and remember him at his best, because I don't think this Bernardo Silva is anywhere near representative of what he's capable of. And I think there'll be an attempt to rewrite this narrative of what Bernardo was, because, maybe he's not quite as exciting as De Bruyne or whatever. But Bernardo Silva at his best was exceptionally fit, and he ran all day long. But not only did he get his foot stuck in, he just dribbled past people. He opened up space with exceptional footwork. He jinked past people on the touchline and got into the box and won penalties, or he cut in and put it in the top corner, or scored big goals in big games. Bernardo Silva is absolutely not that right now. He's not even close to that. And we need to ask why. And is Pep untouchable? Pep's not untouchable. For me, he is for now. He's due. He's having a bad season, and I can accept, like everyone can have a bad season. It can happen. And I feel like too many have had a bad season this year. We need to be better than that. But Pep, next season he has to turn it around, because some of these mistakes are on him. He has to. I think for Pep to move on, by the way, people like Bernardo might have to move on, full stop. Like, I think we really need to sever the ties of some of these players. I think we really do. I think some of these players just need to move on for everyone's sake. I think we need to rip that plaster off. And I understand the argument of somebody staying for experience, but I don't know if you need that connection to where we've been anymore. I feel like that treble side is so... It is such a heavy weight around our neck that I don't think we need it. And some of these players can't really handle the weight of that anymore, because they haven't got the legs, they haven't got the back for it. And that's the thing. I think we have to be aggressively ruthless. I don't know how ruthless we'll be. I don't know how much we're going to move on, but we can't deny the fact that we are desperately crying out for it. We are. Like, ultimately, time waits around for no one. I wish more than anything, that we could defeat the hands of time, but we can't. Time crushes you. It ages you, it wears you down, it erodes away at you. And we're just a coast right now being battered by an ocean, and it's crumbling. We truly are. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we cannot be sentimental. That is the right word. Happens to everyone. Move on. Get new blood in. Accept the loss, and it might be difficult next season too, but ultimately hungry players are the right players to have here. I'd be amazed if Bernardo Silva and people like that are as hungry as they were 2 years ago. It's not possible to be, and I don't blame him for that. I think the best interest of everyone right now, people like Grealish, people like Bernardo Silva, people like Gundogan and De Bruyne, even De Bruyne, I would argue. I think that we all just need to move on, man, because what we've achieved... it could be it could be true about Pep. That's a good point. But I would argue it's different between Pep and players. You could argue Pep's hunger and all that kind of stuff. But the difference with players is a manager can find hunger again. Of course they can, because they can keep going. Maybe you can't in this, but players can't get their legs again. They can't be at the start of their careers again. It's different. Guardiola, has already said how much he loves playing with the new lads already and training with them. I think the idea that Pep's clearly lost it is, I would argue, just fucking nonsense, man. Let's have some respect. I understand the emotional attachment that Pep has to these players. That's why I think we need to remove them. And look, to me, we'll question... Look, I don't even know what more questions there are about Pep. Like, he's admitted everything. Like, to me, Pep's had a terrible season, and I don't think that terrible season will be undone. We're going to get Champions League football, I'm almost certain. And Pep's already admitted responsibility for the lack of rebuild. He's apologised for that. He already has. It's one of those things where, like, he's admitted responsibility, so I accept that. But now we have to accept responsibility and move on from them in the summer. If he doesn't do that in the summer and we get to next season and we're still playing these players, at that point it's unfathomable. It's absolutely, unquestionably bad. There's no excuse next season for Guardiola going on with these players still. Look, Bernardo's on the bench and plays the rotation cup games, fair enough, man, or he comes off as a senior player next year. But Bernardo cannot be a regular starter next season. Gundogan cannot be. And, De Bruyne is a legend, mate. He absolutely is a legend. He's my favourite ever Manchester City player. But at the same time, look, I don't watch Manchester City for Kevin De Bruyne. I don't watch it for any single player. I'm aware that in life, Thanks, Sean. Very kind of you, mate. Where that in life, things move on and new narratives are formed. I am very happy for De Bruyne to move on if it's the best for Manchester City Football Club. And I'm very happy, for Pep to get a crack at it next season, because let's be fucking honest, man, he's deserved it. Like, would you walk away from a relationship that lasted 10 years if you had a difficult year? I don't think so. I don't think so. If you had a difficult year, but you shouldn't walk away from it, should you? You should give it a no, because everything you've done together, and ultimately, I think Pep Guardiola has earned a right to go again, and he's corrected, not corrected. He's they're trying to correct some of the age problems by signing these young players, and he is trying to lean on some of the young players right now. He definitely is. But it's just not enough still. It's not enough still. And I don't think Pep's going to change fully until those players are out of his hands, or until we get ones that he trusts more. And I've made my peace with that. We'll still win more games than we'll lose this season right now towards the end, I reckon. And, but ultimately, I keep saying ultimately, but the point is now, and Pep's personal life went to crap as well. I think we got to consider that. I presume it'll be different next season. You'd hope it'd be different next season, but until we know definitely, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. That was a bad performance today. I expect it will get better in the future, but those ties need to be cut. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about the game in the comments below. For now, have a good day. Bye-bye.